Hello everyone, and welcome to probably the highest rated storytelling game on Steam that I could find. I don't know, it seemed really interesting. I'm pretty sure it's like an hour long, so make sure you're sat back, relaxed, and, just get ready for kind of a movie experience. Let's see, options, audio. Alright, well, let's begin the game. Let's see what happens. I'm excited. I've heard really good things about this game. Please make sure audio is on. I believe it is. Anyways, if you guys are enjoying this type of content, please let me know in the comments.
Thank you very much for playing the Beginner's Guide. My name is Davey Reedon. I wrote The Stanley Parable, and while that game tells a pretty absurd story, today I'm going to tell you about a series of events that happened between 2008 and 2011. We're going to look at the games made by a friend of mine named Coda.
Coda.
Now, these games mean a lot to me. I met Coda in early 2009 at a time when I was really struggling with some personal stuff, and his work pointed me in a very powerful direction. I found it to be a good reference point for the kinds of creative works that I wanted to make. So just to start you off, this is, I think, the first game he ever made. It's a level for Counter-Strike. You can walk around here, by the way. And mostly it's just Coda learning the basics of building a 3D environment. He then scatters these colorful
That's not in Counter-Strike.
blobs and impossible floating crates around the level. And of course, it destroys the illusion that this actually is a desert town, and instead this level becomes a kind of calling card from its creator. It's like a reminder that this video game was constructed by a real person. And it kind of makes you wonder, what was going through his head as he was building this? This is what I like about all of Coda's games. I mean, not that they're all fascinating as games, but that they are all going to give us access to their creator. I want us to see past the games themselves. I want to get to know who this human being really is. And that's exactly what we're going to do here.
Oh, that's so cool.
So, it's 2008, Coda starts making these games, and he never releases any of them. He doesn't put them onto the internet, he just makes them and then immediately abandons them, and they sit on his computer forever. And I think he really understood this image of himself as a recluse. At one point, he jokingly renamed his computer's recycling bin to Important Games Folder. So, this was just how he worked. He tended to crank them out one after the other without even really pausing to try to understand what he had just made, until suddenly one day, he just stopped. In 2011, that was it. He made his last game, and then he hasn't made another one since. And that's why I've taken this opportunity to gather all of his work together. Is because I find his games powerful and interesting, and I'd like this collection to reach him, to maybe encourage him to start creating again. And if the people like you who play this also happen to find his work interesting, then I'm sure it'll just send that much stronger of a message of encouragement to Coda. So thanks for joining me on this. If you have a particular interpretation that I haven't mentioned here, or if you just need to get in touch, you can email me at daveywreden@gmail.com. Okay, that's about it for introduction. Let's take a look at Coda's first proper game.
Alrighty.
As each game is loading, I'll show you the date that it was completed. This first one was made in November 2008.
Oh, this is so much cooler than I thought it would be. Oh, so before we continue on in the game, I just want to give a couple of my thoughts. So this guy made the Stanley Parable, which is really cool because that game I haven't played personally, but I'm definitely gonna put it on the channel when I do end up like scrunching up the money to buy the game and get all that good stuff. But I know there's been like a deluxe, like an extra edition to the game that's been added to it. But this guy was creator of the Stanley Parable, and this game is like, even though it's even a couple years old, like, I don't know when this game was made, like 2016, 2017. It's fascinating that he still puts his email out there, because most game developers don't want, like, a crazy amount of input on, like, different, like, this type of person, like their game in general, because they know most of the things about the game. This guy just stole, well, not stole, but he gathered up a bunch of, like, games from his friend, and he's trying to turn a story out of a game. I think that's really fascinating. Anyways, what is this? I am in an FPS game.
This game is called Escape from Whisper, and it's one of the more generic games you'll see from Coda.
Okay. Whisper machine. Status active. Evacuate immediately. Okay. Where do I go? Oh, of course. I can jump, okay. Oops. I should probably be saving ammo.
Security call reached. Hostile alien life forms inbound.
Where are the aliens?
It kinda looks like this game was abandoned mid-development. For instance, you have this gun, which you'd think would indicate that there are supposed to be monsters
can't
or
reload.
enemies somewhere, but then clearly there are no enemies anywhere. You can't even reload the gun when you run out of bullets. But ultimately, we don't really know. Maybe Coda thought that actually it was complete the way that it is. And I think that we should talk about his games for what they are, rather than for what they're not.
Enemy force neutralized. Begin.
That's a really cool
I
thought.
love how you can see the bottom of the universe from this room.
That's a pretty cool sandbox. Even nowadays. I guess. I don't know. I thought it was cool. Okay, looks like we got a maze.
Apparently, this space station has a labyrinth on it. Sure, I don't know. There's really no reason for it that I've ever been able to discern, so in the interest of time, I'm just gonna skip you on past it.
Oh, okay, so it's got like dev controls.
Okay, this is the part that's interesting. The game has this narrative about the Whisper machine and how it has to be turned off, and then you get to the engine room.
Hey, you there?
Ow,
in the
that's
engine
scared.
room. You could save us all. That beam is powering a Whisper machine. We could disrupt it by introducing a great enough heat signature. If your body could stop the beam. It's so much to ask, but for all of our lives, would you do it? Could you give yourself?
Do I? Where? I'm locked. Looks like Gatorade. Or a lightsaber. I guess I'm dead.
Let me pause here for a second.
Okay.
What you just experienced, stepping into the beam and then dying, is probably what Coda had initially intended when he was developing this level. But when he first compiles and plays it, something goes wrong. There's a bug somewhere. And this is what happens instead.
Is this a bug or did you add this into the game? That's a... Because you have...
The beam causes you to start floating. And this is an important moment for him. Because yes, this is technically a glitch, but Coda identifies something human about it.
I'm getting
like
chills.
how small it makes you feel in the face of this larger chaotic system. Or this floating could be the afterlife, a peaceful place, juxtaposed against all of the hysteria that you've just had to traverse. I don't even know. I have no idea what he was thinking, but what's clear is that after making this, something lodges itself in his brain. He wants to do more of these really weird and experimental designs. So he stops work on this and moves on to a stream of tiny little games that go in all sorts of directions. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first game he made after leaving this one behind.
Okay. Oh. Oh, what's this? The past was behind her. I can't go forwards, by the way.
Yep. In this game, you can only walk backwards.
Oh, that's cool. Because then the messages are going to be like in... Wait, hold on. Huh? Oh. This is spooky. This would be actually a really cool horror game idea. Like, you would have to look behind you. Oh! See, just like that!
It's a short and relatively minimalist experiment combining motion and narrative. It is less advanced than the previous game, but actually it seems to be more focused, more complete. Coda's trying to give it a unique voice rather than simply basing it on a pre-existing trope.
But the future cannot be seen. Why does the future keep changing? I already went here. I saw something on my left. Oh, when she stops and looks, it becomes clearer. But if the future is always behind her, how will she find the strength to confront it?
It's a short little thought, it says what it wants to say, and then it ends. Didn't need anything more than that. Which to me is why it works, because it gets out quick.
Oh.
Okay, next one.
You are now entering. Okay, what am I entering? Okay.
And that's it. Okay, the
What?
meaning of this game won't be clear just yet. Please be patient with me for a few more games, and I promise you'll see what makes it interesting.
3 games in, and I only understand like 1.5 of them.
Oftentimes, Coda would put bizarre titles like this one at the start of his games.
I
wish I'd known him at the time that he was making these early games. He would really only talk to me about his work as he was making it. Once he stopped work on a game, that was it. It was dead to him. And I don't agree with that at all, but what are you gonna do?
I am literally getting such bad chills because I've never sat down and had someone direct me through games, directionally put me toward in games. I think this is fascinating, and it's the purpose is to tell a story about either his friend or I'll give my predictions at the end of this, so what Coda is or what any of this really means, but I'm sure he'll give his thoughts later. So far, this is
Once you've been slowed to an absolute crawl, the door at the top of the stairs opens. So why, if Coda's not showing these games to anyone, why bother opening the door at all? Well, to show you, I'm modifying the game here so that when you press enter, it'll bring you back up to full speed so you can enter the door for yourself.
oh, what do we have? Oh, your gate.
A room that's warm and nice and filled with little ideas for games.
Oh, that's nice.
Coda would often tell me that he didn't mind if people thought of him as cold or distant. He said that he knew that he was actually a vibrant and compassionate person, but that it takes time to really see that.
I love
It
that
can be
one.
a very slow climb to get there.
That's really neat. That's really neat. Ready, set, fish. Oh! I love the music in these games, by the way. It does give me crazy chills though. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna get a hoodie on. Alrighty, I'm back. I got a small hoodie on, one I could really find. Sorry about that. Let us continue.
Well, this is new for Coda. It's an actual puzzle. Go ahead and see if you can solve it.
I'm pretty good at puzzles. Okay. Ooh. Someone was smoking in here.
Don't forget that solution, because we're going to see this puzzle again soon. We're gonna see it a lot.
I have a feeling we will. I have a feeling that's going to be a really big occurring scene. reoccurring,
So
whatever.
that seems to be it, right? You walk down a corridor, you solve a puzzle, you get to the end. Simple enough.
Why does he lock the
All
door
right,
every
Now
time?
I'm going to modify the game again so that when you press enter, it'll remove all of the walls from this room.
Okay.
How about that?
Wow.
There's more to it than we had any way of knowing. I actually find it funny that this game comes after the Stairs game, since they essentially convey the opposite idea.
Yeah, they
So,
kind of.
in the Stairs game, a dull exterior concealed a rich interior. And then, in this level, a dull interior hides this fantastic outer world.
Oh, that's
Either way,
really
I think
cool.
that the point is the same. Is that most of the time, you don't get to know what you're missing, or even that you're missing anything. That's not your role as a player. So if your role here is not to understand, then what is it?
Sorry, I have an itch on my eye. That's an interesting thought. You are now exiting.
Aha. So, this, combined with the entering game from earlier, tells us that Coda believes his games are connected somehow. It could even be that the Stairs game and the puzzle game are literally connected in between this and the entering game. There's a bigger picture that all of his games are meant to play a role in, some larger meaning that we won't be able to grasp until we've seen all of them. And once we have, we can step back and start to understand what exactly that bigger picture is.
I'm excited to see what that is. Okay. Do you see that? That's a shot. That's what me and my friends say all the time. Like whenever like we're watching like anime or something and we like see like a really cool scene, we usually like pause it and then take a screenshot and we usually say, "That's a shot." That's funny. But it literally that's
Let's talk about video game development for a second.
man.
Every video game runs on what's called an engine, which determines what the game can and cannot do. So in other words, the engine is a set of tools for game development.
How about if I go around it?
To make all of these games, Coda is using an engine called Source. Like all engines, Source has certain
Nothing.
things that it does well, and it has certain things that it does poorly. One of the things that it does very well is boxy linear corridors.
Oh.
That's why so many of Coda's games are set in these large, flat, empty rooms, is just because he's working with what the engine does well. The tools available to the creator shape what kinds of creative work they're
Oh.
going to end up making. You might consider paying attention to the
Okay, of
architecture.
course
in
there's no
Coda's
fall
games
damage.
to notice how they seem to stem from an engine that's very good at producing linear, boxy corridors.
I could just fall all the way down. Man, it feels like I'm going into like Coda's head. Like this game is just like a storage of like his thoughts and his feelings, but it's just a huge collection of like his emotions and everything just put into these separate games. I think that's fascinating. Oh, that scared me. It gave me more chills. I'm wearing a hoodie. Okay. I assume I just go... Oh, gosh! This isn't supposed to scare me! Stop pushing me. Let me take a sip. Anyways. Wow, they really just lock you in a place. Or the game does. I can't. I don't.
This prison, funny enough, in Coda's original design, the doors stayed shut for a full hour before letting you go. If you don't mind,
Okay.
I think we're gonna skip that.
I was about to say, it's like, is this the reason why this game's so long?
This is something that he and I used to argue about a lot. You know,
No.
whether a game ought to
I would say,
actually
okay,
be
guys,
playable,
bye.
whether it means anything if no one can get through it. And I would always defend that, you know, all this work goes into the game, why not make it playable and accessible?
Right.
And so we just got into heated arguments over it, and there was one time that after one of these conversations, he went home, and a day or two later, he sent me a zip file entitled Playable Games that was full of hundreds of individual games, each of which was just an empty box that you walked around in and nothing else.
Oh my goodness.
Believe me, I played every single one of those just to find out if there was like a gag hidden somewhere. There wasn't.
Wow. Man, this guy really is interested in this guy. I forget what this guy's name is. I don't remember.
It's the puzzle again, with the exact same solution as the last time.
Okie dokie.
There's still no clear indication of what makes this puzzle so special that Coda is going to return to it over and over. But I promise I'll share with you my interpretation very shortly.
I would love to hear that, sir. I would love to hear your guys' interpretation of like anything that you have questions about or anything that I haven't covered or anything. Because I'm not very good at like covering these type of games. But I love exploring like these ideas. Like I love the Stanley Parable. I love documentary type games like this and all sorts of other games. And this game has been out for years. But I never like really explored it, which is such a shame. Okay, what is this?
Here, Coda begins using a kind of dialogue system that he fashioned out of the engine's chat capabilities. Use the 1, 2, 3 buttons on your keyboard to respond.
Okay. You there. Did you come from up above? What was up there? Yes, there was a world stamped with whiteness. Yes, there was an enormous prison I spent hours in. Yes, there were these floating colored blocks. All of which are true. So I'm just gonna click all 3 at once and see what happens. Okay, I accidentally clicked 3. There's a world above? You've been? Now this is important. Did you have to get through a puzzle with 2 doors and switches? Yes, I did. That was literally the last thing I did before coming here. No, I don't remember having to go through any puzzle. I'd prefer not to tell you, after all. We only just met. I feel like this has a deeper meaning somehow. I'm gonna say yes. I want to see what happens. I would usually say no. Again, perfect. Now please tell us how you solved it. Tell us the solution. Tell us how you got to the other side. I don't remember how I solved it. I'm trying to remember, but I can't. I didn't solve it. Someone else let me in. Trust me, you don't want to go over there. I'm gonna put that. That seems interesting. Oh no, but I do. We do. We need to get there. Do you understand? It is the most important thing in the world. We have to escape this prison. There must be an ending. I promise you, there is nothing I want more. Oh! Did you hear what he said? I'm sure because he didn't, Coda didn't share these games to anybody, so those were just him rambling questions and thoughts together, and all he really wants is an ending. Kind of. That's just what I think at this moment of the game. Hello, how did you get here? Was there a puzzle you had to pass through? Yes, do you want to know how to solve it? No, I've been right here this entire time. Let's see. Yes. No, we actually find the black space between the doors to be far more interesting. Have you seen it yet? Why would I care about the space between the doors? Actually, now that you mention it, I remember feeling strange as I passed through it. I don't recall a space between the doors. I don't know why I clicked that, but don't think too hard about it. You'll see it again soon. Nice. It really feels like I'm interacting with the developer.
And so we make one last descent down to the final floor of the level.
This is really, really cool. I love these games. I'm never gonna stop moaning about this because I love it. It's a lamppost.
It's a lamppost.
It is.
Okay, I can't tell you quite why, but for some reason, Coda fixates on this lamppost.
I mean, it was at the front
It's going
page.
to appear at the end of every single one of his games from here on out. I'll tell you what I think. I think that up to this point, he's been making really strange and abstract games with no clear purpose, and maybe you can only float around in that headspace for so long. Because now he wants something to hold on to. He wants a reference point. He wants the work to be leading to something. He wants a destination, which is what this lamppost is. It's a destination. We're going to see it in the work as well. His games are just going to become a lot more cohesive,
Right.
a lot more fully developed, with more of a clear idea behind them. And as we go, that idea will get clearer and clearer and clearer.
That's really cool. Oh. Man, I might have to do multiple parts of this. This game is connected to the internet. As you walk around, you can leave notes. All the notes you see are left by other players. Okay. Oh, a note. Nice room. Not. Okay, Coda. I think it's lovely.
So first off, I'm sure you can deduce this, but this game is not connected to the internet. All of the notes that you're going to see have been written by Coda.
Yeah.
This was actually the first game of his that I ever played. This was shortly after I met him at a weekend game jam in Sacramento,
that.
where I grew up. I saw him
okay.
working on this very level, and it was just so different from anything that anyone else was doing. So right away I was like, I have to be friends with this person. In retrospect, I think I was probably a bit too pushy trying to get his attention. I was over enthusiastic. But he was very gracious about it and very patient with me. And I cooled off eventually.
Define fun. Balls.
Feel free to skip over any of these notes if they're not doing anything for you. Nothing extra is going to happen if you read all of them. Either way, to me they convey a sense of loneliness. I see this person who's filled with thoughts and feelings and beliefs and has no way to express them except as scattered and unheard voices in a game that wasn't meant to be played. But it's ironic, isn't it, that in playing this game and seeing how alone Coda often felt, that we get to know him better and actually kind of connect with him. And I have to be honest with you, this idea is really seductive to me. That I could just play someone's game and see the voices in their head and get to know them better and have to do less of the messy in-person socializing. I could just get to know you through your work. I think this is why I always liked Coda's games so much, is because it felt like they let me have that connection. I felt as though he was inviting me personally into his world. And then I feel less lonely too.
That's really something. Because the person who made this game guaranteed... Oh, okay, so the notes that you already read are white, okay. I help people because of the internal good feeling I get. New room. I'm not reading some of the notes because I want to stay monetized. I mean, never mind. I should not have said that. Anyways, I think that this is really neat. What? I failed to write anything here. Sir? I think you're delusional. Stop, turn back. Proceeding further will only result in misery. Says you, Coda. I'm perfectly fine. Alright, I'm gonna skip past a couple of these because I do want to make some progress. Also, I do want to know what is that. Okay, I do want to see what these notes have to say about this art. Painting, what does it mean? I don't know about that. I think it's just art, man. You are speaking. I like this note the best. That's a good note. Yeah, it does. I can hear whispers as well. It's like Did Coda put that sound in the game, or did the guy who put this collection of games put that in? Because I feel like that's kind of an important detail. You know, I might actually email him about that if he still answers his emails. I have no idea if he does, because, you know, he's been really busy with the Stanley Parable, like, Deluxe, I think it's called. And I know that game's getting a good amount of attention. I know a lot of famous YouTubers have already made videos on it, but I'm still gonna make a video of it because I think it's a really cool game.
At the end of this level,
and I've never
we're going
played
to
it.
see the puzzle again. And here, I'll tell you what I think the puzzle means. Each of these games represents an idea that was on Coda's mind at the time that he was making it. And the puzzle is a way of closing the door on a previous chapter of his life before moving on to the next one. In each of his games, after exploring a theme that, he might find difficult, Coda can then place this puzzle that he knows has a reliable solution, he understands exactly how it works, and so it gives him a simple mechanism for moving on.
Okay, the whispering is kind of getting annoying.
And because there's this dark area between the doors, a space between spaces, before you move on, you get to pause. Just for a moment, a few seconds to reflect on and let go of the events that led you here.
I see.
To
That's
step back and connect the pieces together, to grasp at that elusive bigger picture.
That must mean that Coda's life has to be so. What is this? How do you leave notes? What is this? There's a lamppost. You there? Please say something. I can't be anything. I just need to say something. Talk to me, please. Why are you having so much difficult talking? Speak, 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 speak. Oh. That's sad.
Okay, this one is tough.
They do.
It's gonna kind of just spin its own wheels for a few minutes. Hang with it.
Alright, honestly, I'm going to pause this for now, because I have a lot of things I need to think about, and I'm not going to give my full analysis of this game until I actually finish it. But for now, I'm going to leave this one here, because I don't want to keep on making hour-long videos and putting it on my channel. I'm going to make this a really small series, maybe a 3-part series, because we're on chapter 9, and I think you said there's only 2 other chapters besides this, and we're already in May going into June. So we're getting there. Anyways, this game is fantastic so far. I love how this guy put in, I know I'm kind of being a little bit repetitive of the things in my thoughts, but I love how this guy put all these games together and conformed it into his own game, because his friend didn't want to do anything with it. So he put it into his own game, and now he's getting all the support that he had with the Stanley Parable, and now he's putting this really complicated question, subject on, is why did Coda not post these games? These are all interesting games. I'm having a fantastic time just going through it and diving deep into these games, and I think it's really, really fascinating that this person would make I heard one of the things that he said, he made hundreds of these game files that you have to render, and you have to and they're kind of they're not that big, they're kind of in megabytes, I think, the files, but even if it's only the source document and the game, if you open it, it's just a box. He sent hundreds of those. It just to prove a small point, to say that they're playable games even though there's literally nothing in it. Why would you do that? Man. I know, I'm getting a little bit too much into this. That's one of the reasons why I'm actually doing a part series, because if I keep on going deep, I'm just going to keep on getting more energetic, and I kind of want to take this a little bit slower than it's already going, because I really cherish this time that this game has given us. Anyways, that's all for me. I'm going to make probably part 2 tomorrow. Thank you everyone so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please consider liking and subscribing. Then again, I am still pretty new to this, so you know, if you enjoy, you enjoy, and if you don't, you don't. That's perfectly fine with me. I'm having a fantastic time. Anyways, thank you all very much, and cheers. I'll see you later. You take care.